Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your interest in the I-580 truck access study and taking the time to learn more about the study findings. Caltrans has developed an online tool that allows you to explore and interact with the study findings. In this video, I will walk through how to navigate the tool and some of the key findings from this study. We recommend you view the tool on a desktop computer for the best viewing experience. Before we begin, I'll first share some more about the purpose of the I-580 truck access study. This study is being led by Caltrans, and the purpose of the study is to understand what could happen to traffic, air quality, noise, and safety if the existing truck ban on I-580 were to be removed. The study will not result in a change to the status of the ban or recommend keeping or removing the ban in the future. I also wanted to provide some pointers on how to navigate the tool. First, the tool is also available in Spanish and Chinese. You can choose a language by clicking on these buttons in the top of the screen. Use your cursor to scroll through the tool by hovering over the left-hand side and scrolling, or navigate through the tool using the arrow bars on this bar at the bottom of the screen. You can also zoom in and out on the map, either using the tool in the top left corner of the map, or you can hover over the map and scroll in and scroll out. This button will reset the map to its original extent. Let's start by looking at why we're evaluating the truck ban. Today, trucks over 4.5 tons are prohibited on an 8.7-mile stretch of I-580 between Foothill Boulevard in San Leandro and Grand Avenue in Oakland. Residents in East Oakland, West Oakland, San Leandro, and unincorporated Alameda County have long raised concerns about how trucks move through their neighborhoods and the pollution that comes with it. The I-580 truck ban, alongside historical redlining and industrial siting, has concentrated environmental burdens in communities along I-880. Neighborhoods along I-880 and in West Oakland rank among the most polluted in the state. These areas are shown as the red areas on the map, and this is based on statewide environmental data. Several community plans, including the West Oakland Community Action Plan, the East Oakland Mobility Action Plan, and the East Oakland Community Emissions Reduction Plan, have all recommended reevaluating the truck ban. In 2021, students at Life Academy in East Oakland documented what they see and breathe every day, and nearly 700 people joined a virtual town hall to share how the ban has affected their neighborhoods. Next, the tool introduces the specific communities we're focused on for this study, shown here on the map. To learn more about each community, you can click through the panel on the left-hand side of the screen. You can also scroll over the map to see more details on each census tract, as well as each community location. We are primarily looking at 3 community designations. The first are environmentally burdened communities, which are neighborhoods that the state has identified using a tool called CalEnviroScreen as facing the heaviest combination of pollution and health impacts in California. About 20% of everyone living in our study area lives in one of these communities. The second designation is equity priority communities, which are areas identified regionally by the Metropolitan Transportation Commission as home to concentrations of lower income households and communities that have been historically left out of planning decisions. Over half of study area residents, about 55%, live in these communities. Finally, we are also looking at sensitive locations, which are places like schools, child care facilities, health facilities, and elder care facilities, since these are places where people who are especially vulnerable to air pollution spend their time. The facilities shown in color on the map are those that are in 1,000 feet of I-580, I-880, or I-238. This chapter shows you who lives in the study area today based on the American Community Survey's 5-year estimates. You can hover over any census tract on the map for more information about the demographic breakdown of that census tract. By clicking through the categories on the left-hand side of the screen, you can get a better understanding of where people in the study area live. Next, we'll look at what could happen to truck traffic if the ban is removed. Today, Heavy trucks or trucks weighing over 4.5 tons are essentially absent from I-580, and we can see that by this light color on I-580 on the map. If the ban is removed, our modeling shows that approximately 3,800 heavy trucks per day could travel on I-580 through Oakland. At the same time, heavy truck volumes could decrease on I-238 by about 55% and I-880 by about 35%, as some trips could shift to I-580 instead. This analysis is based on the Alameda-Contra Costa travel model, which forecasts future travel based on anticipated changes in population, land use, and the future transportation network. These are modeled projections, and actual truck volumes could be higher or lower than what's shown. The full traffic analysis can be viewed in the draft traffic analysis memorandum, which is linked here. And this also includes all freeways and all major arterials in the study area. Next, the tool explores what changes in diesel particulate matter, the soot-like pollution from diesel trucks, could mean for cancer risk. Cancer risk is a focus of this analysis because it can often indicate broader health impacts from toxic air contaminants. The cancer risk map we are looking at on the screen, as well as the numbers, show cancer cases per million people. Given that there are far less than 1 million people in the study area, let alone within each census tract, these are rates used to compare risk across areas, not a literal count of how many people in each tract could get cancer. No census tract in our study area comes anywhere close to 1 million people, so no tract should expect anything close to these numbers. Now, I'll summarize some of the key findings related to diesel particulate matter and cancer risk. There are two ways to view the findings on the map. The first is this heat map, which I will keep on screen for most of the key findings summary, but you can also view the findings by census tract. And if you hover over the census tract, you'll see more details on cases per million. Diesel particulate matter is expected to decline between today, which is what we're currently looking on the screen, and 2035, which is now what we're looking on the screen, as older trucks are replaced with cleaner technologies, regardless of what happens with the ban. So again, this is cancer risk today with the ban, and in the future, in 2035, without the ban. As a result, cancer risk is expected to decline across the whole study area from about 13 cases per million people today to about 5 cases per million people in 2035 if the ban is maintained. Environmentally burdened communities face the highest risk today at about 27 cases per million and see the greatest benefit from removing the ban. Risk could decline to about 8 cases per million compared to 9 cases per million if the ban stays in place. Although this group could see a decline in cancer risk if the ban is removed, cancer risk is still higher than it is for the study area as a whole. Other communities could see a very small increase in risk if the ban is removed, but risk everywhere would still be far lower than it is today. If you click on this link at the bottom of the page, you'll be able to see more detailed results by community and demographic group, and you'll see a series of graphs that show average exposure by demographic group under 3 scenarios: today, 2035 with the ban, and 2035 with the ban removed. More detailed results can also be found in the draft air quality memorandum linked here. This next chapter addresses some of the questions we've heard most often from the community. First, could removing the ban lead to more trucks traveling through this area overall? This is unlikely. Freight volumes are driven by economic and population growth, not by how much room is on the road. National forecasts anticipate up to 38% more freight moving through California by 2050, regardless of what happens with the ban. Another question we've received is, could removing the ban result in more or more severe crashes? This is unlikely. Trucks would likely shift from one freeway to another, so the overall amount of truck traffic in the study area may not increase, although some roadways could see an increase or a decrease in traffic volumes. Data from other Bay Area and California freeways shows that more trucks on a road also doesn't mean more or more severe crashes. If anything, research suggests drivers tend to be more cautious around trucks, which can lower crash risk rather than raise it. And finally, could removing the truck ban increase noise? Noise near I-580 might increase slightly, but the increase would not be perceptible to the human ear. If you're interested in learning more about any of these topics, you can click on any of the links here for a more detailed fact sheet. There are also questions the study doesn't answer that could be explored in future phases of work, like seismic risk, evacuation times and routes, and whether I-580 is structurally able to handle trucks. One outcome of this study will be to identify strategies to reduce the impacts of truck traffic, regardless of what happens with the ban. These strategies include things like cleaner air, such as expanding support for zero-emission trucks at the Port of Oakland, less noise, for example, constructing additional sound walls where appropriate, healthier communities, so strategies like expanding asthma management and health services near freight corridors, smarter truck routes, so designating routes that avoid local residential areas and sensitive locations, better land use planning, like planting trees along truck corridors and near community facilities, safer streets, like lowering speed limits on streets with high truck volumes, and importantly, repairing past harm, so centering restorative justice in the freight planning process. We want to hear from you about what types of strategies you're most interested in seeing, and you'll have the opportunity to provide this feedback by taking our community survey. Finally, here's how you can stay involved. Take our community survey and visit the project website to follow the study's progress. We'll also be at community events throughout the summer, including farmers markets and libraries across Oakland, San Leandro, Alameda County, and Berkeley. You can hover over these event buttons on the map for more information. Everything we've covered today, along with what we hear from the community, will be documented in a full report expected in the winter of 2026-2027. This study will not change the status of the ban, nor will it recommend a change to its future status. Caltrans does not have the legal authority to remove the ban. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about the I-580 truck access study.